King Henry's room was bathed in sunlight that reflected off of his golden hair. When Catherine and I entered, he was stationed behind his desk, appearing stoic.
Catherine? Bronwyn? What brings you two here in each other's company?
We simply chanced upon one another at the entrance.
Ah, I see. A lucky coincidence.
Your Highness, I hear rumours that you intend to orchestrate the nuptials yourself. Is that so?
Indeed, sister-in-law.
I glanced at Catherine, realising that we shared a common purpose. Catherine arrived for the same reason as I. I've heard the rumours as well. With that, Catherine caught my gaze and looked me up and down briefly, but suspiciously. Your Highness, if I may be so bold as to offer, I wish to relieve you of the burden of wedding preparations. King Henry arched his eyebrows.
Are you suggesting I hand over the responsibilities to my sister-in-law?
It is an uncommon endeavour for a sovereign such as yourself to orchestrate his own wedding. As your sister-in-law and former queen, I am best suited to oversee the preparations on behalf of both of you. It would be most fitting. King Henry smiled awkwardly and uttered his response. He seemed like he wanted to refuse her request, but before he could voice his sentiments, I interjected. This union commenced differently than most. Therefore, it is prudent to approach the preparations with a distinct strategy. I ask that you uphold your initial decision, King Henry. Catherine seemed taken aback by my objection. She did not appear angered, but rather a tad surprised and perhaps a little bit sad. She lowered her gaze. I ventured here under the impression that it was fitting for me, as your sister-in-law and former queen, to attend to matters of preparation. I seemingly misjudged the situation, and for that I apologize. Catherine appeared helpless and disappointed. Her complexion had paled, and when she apologized so quietly, it felt strange. Instead of pressing further, Catherine left the office in silence. I frowned as I stared at the door. I felt as if I had intimidated her, as if I had pushed a weak animal that was seeking shelter. It was strange. I never felt this way about Rose, who was in a more pitiful position than Catherine. But Catherine's weak side was something I felt like I related to. She was a queen ousted from her position, and circumstances beyond her control, seeking a way to maintain influence in the country she had served for so long.
Your Majesty.
Startled, I looked up at Henry. I had nearly forgotten he was there, which was ironic since I had not been able to get his image out of my mind all day.
You have a grim expression. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm quite all right.
You don't seem all right at all. I will tell my sister-in-law to refrain from coming to my office in the future. Would that suit you?
There's no need for that. Catherine should be able to roam the palace freely.
Oh. All right, then.
We looked at each other awkwardly.
Is there another matter on your mind? Do you want to be involved in the preparations for our wedding?
Not exactly. I took a deep breath, ready to confront him, but the words wouldn't come. I sputtered before finding something to fill the silence. Actually, yes, that's exactly why I came, to see if there was anything I could do to help. He gave me an admiring smile.
Oh, that's very kind, Your Majesty, but I'd like to take care of it myself.
I understand.
Of course, you'll have to help me with your wedding dress. It can't be done with my measurements.
The moment he mentioned measurements, I remembered his naked body in the fountain, and my face began to heat up. I lowered my head, soon realizing that this angle was worse. I was staring directly at the part of his body that I longed for most. He approached me and kneeled so that we were eye to eye.
Your Majesty, are you angry?
Still embarrassed, I pretended to look out the window through the curtains. I bit my lips so hard I was nervous blood would trickle down my face. By any chance? I started to tell him, but When I looked at his face, I saw how concerned he looked. I wasn't ready for this conversation. Can we invite Grand Duke Bjorn to the wedding?
What?
He seemed about as confused as I felt. I had not had such an overwhelming feeling of nerves since I was a schoolgirl. If you invite him, I'll be able to finalize the trade agreement between Rhett and the Celestial Isles. I was surprised and satisfied with how calm I appeared, as if this was what I had intended to bring up from the beginning.
If your Majesty has worked on it, of course there will be a high probability of success.
This would be the first state-led trade agreement with this continent. Although direct trade will be beneficial in and of itself, Rhett and the Celestial Isles will also become centers of trade for more intermediary countries. Merchants will feel more at ease getting involved in a state-led business, so it will be even easier to get their investment. The viability of this plan was thoroughly examined while I was in Elisaria.
But, Queen, why do you look away from me when you speak? Please, look over here.
I'm not avoiding your gaze. He looked at me, troubled, and I finally met his gaze. I'm avoiding your...
What?
It took everything in my power not to stare at the lower half of his body. My body was heating up. Do you agree to invite Grand Duke Bjorn?
Indeed.
I appreciate it. We will speak soon. With that, I turned on my heel and left the room, where I found Miss Matilda waiting for me. I thought you might be here. That was a quick visit with your betrothed. I had little to say. Perhaps it is more powerful to convey your feelings without words at times. I blushed and looked at her in surprise. She was smiling back at me. Now, Matilda, save your carnal thoughts for after you've completed your duties. We walked together, giggling. I did not want her to know how awkward I felt around King Henry. It was important that the people of the Celestial Isles were under the impression that our bond was strong. As we continued around the corner, I noticed Catherine hovering with a lady-in-waiting who we had seen the day before, right outside my chamber. I felt a knot forming in my stomach, and I feared I was about to be confronted with something I would not know how to handle. Hello, Lady Catherine. Are you waiting for me? Yes. How can I help you? You can help me by ensuring that your subordinates are not disrespectful to my ladies-in-waiting. I looked at her in shock. Sir Leaf. That strange man had put Catherine's lady-in-waiting off so much that she complained about it, blaming me in the process. Do not allow this to happen again. Despite it being a request, her attitude was firm, and her protection of her ladies was dignified and admirable. I felt sorry for not speaking up yesterday when Leaf had behaved so inappropriately. I felt sad, knowing that if it weren't a symbol of competition to her, we might have been friends. I thought about my own feelings of disgust at Rose's desperation to be my friend. If I were Catherine, how would I come to respect the new queen? I lifted my chin and spoke to her with regal elegance. Sir Leaf is not my subordinate, but King Henry's. I suggest you make your request directly to him. Now, if you'll excuse me. Catherine nodded at me, as if she was recognizing she had met her match, and perhaps I saw a glint of appreciation in her eye. All I wanted was for us to be equals. I did not want to exude power over her. She stepped aside, and Matilda and I entered my chambers. Once inside, I turned to Matilda, feeling a bit energized. Matilda, you're an excellent lady-in-waiting. Thank you, Your Majesty. And you need more help. It is true. Could you kindly deliver a letter to Cedrica, beseeching her to be my lady-in-waiting? Miss Cedrica? But Your Highness, that young lady, she is not suited for such a position. That's precisely why I want to hire her. With all due respect, Your Highness, would you... Please explain." "I'm glad you asked. Surely, all the most suitable people are already waiting on Lady Catherine. I'm forced to be a bit more adventurous. It also appears that Catherine has overlooked some beyond suitable candidates, specifically yourself. Your intelligence and impeccable etiquette beg the question, why were you not selected? You're an exceptional lady-in-waiting, tactful, clever, graceful. Initially, I appointed you to please your brother, but now you have pleased me." Truth be told, she never extended the offer. It likely stems from Ivar being a subordinate of His Highness King Henry. Was not Sir Ivar a knight of the Royal Guard before? Indeed, but he was not the leader. No need for further explanation. I look forward to having you by my side as we take risks and build a team of women as exceptional as yourself. I hold a genuine fondness for you, Miss Matilda." I reached for her hand, happy to have a friend. She smiled shyly and looked at me with admiration. "Indeed, and I for you." The following morning, Cedrica arrived wearing a smile so big that it rivaled the size of her spear. She was happy to receive the letter I sent, and I felt pride swell in my chest. "Your Highness." She raised her hand to wave, but swiftly lowered it at a stern glance from Matilda. Nevertheless, her cheerful demeanour persisted. "You are a very cheerful young lady." "I look forward to watching you two become friends." "Indeed, Your Highness. On my way here, I encountered these folks. They said they wanted to see the Queen. I said, that's where I'm going. I brought them here. My first duty for the new Queen." I stepped aside and revealed a line of people, carrying large boxes. "Thank you, Miss Cedrica." "Hello, and who might you be?" A regal, middle-aged woman dressed in a lovely, silk, pale yellow suit stepped forward. I admired her bravery and innovation. She was wearing pants, something women only did if they were knights, but somehow she looked exquisitely feminine. "Your Highness, it is an honor to meet you. I am the foremost designer in the Celestial Isles, Lady McLennan." She reached into the large, suede bag she carried and pulled out a parchment, which I recognized as an edition of Lord's publication. On the front page was a portrait of Lady McLennan, including a formal interview with her. This woman was the best of the best. "Your Highness, Lady McLennan is here to handle your wedding attire, including the wedding dress, the reception dress, and garments for every occasion. May she come in?" "By all means." I was instructed by His Highness King Henry to create the most glamorous wedding dress for you. You're going to look spectacular.
Meanwhile, coincidentally, or perhaps not, Rose was looking through her own boxes of garments with a designer Aldrich had provided, but the mood was a bit different.
"I'm going to look like an absolute fool."
The dresses in front of her were not the kinds of dresses she imagined she would wear. Disgust welled within her.
"Why? Why?" "His Majesty commissioned me to craft a dress that would flatter you." "Are you suggesting that a glamorous, beautiful dress doesn't flatter me?" I certainly didn't mean that." "That's precisely what it sounded like to me." "I assure you that's not what I meant."
Rose grew even more agitated at the designer's words. This woman was undoubtedly intentionally trying to make her look absurd. This kind of paranoia had become familiar to Rose as of late.
"And what type of dress did the deposed Queen wear for her wedding?"
Begrudgingly, Miss Erin, Rose's skittish designer, flipped back through her portfolio and presented Bronwyn's dress design.
"It is so beautiful."
The dress was indeed exceedingly glamorous. When Rose pursed her lips tightly, expressing her dissatisfaction through tense silence, The designer grew even more nervous.
It was you who designed the deposed queen's dresses, am I correct? That's correct. I designed her wedding dress, her wedding reception dress, and many other dresses. You favour the deposed queen? You wish for me to wear a plain dress so that I will be criticised while being compared to her, am I correct? Absolutely not. It all depends on the atmosphere. Each occasion is unique and...
Rose pointed her finger at Bronwyn's wedding dress design.
I want my dress to be more glamorous and beautiful than that one.
Once the designer had agreed to follow Rose's request and subsequently scurried away, Rose angrily reclined on the couch and kicked a cushion. For Rose, the designer was resolute in recommending a plain dress, ensuring she wouldn't stand out more than the deposed queen. Would the commoners appreciate a queen in a plain dress? She thought not.
Duke Elegy, what are you doing here, and who is accompanying you?
Good day, Miss Rose. Do you remember what I explained to you about scribes?
Rose's eyes widened as she nodded.
Is this man with you a scribe?
Yes, he's a scribe much favoured by the commoners. Did you receive a marriage proposal from His Majesty yet, Miss Rose?
I'm not at liberty to discuss it.
Is that true?
Unable to disclose the truth to Duke Elegy, Rose lowered her gaze. Duke Elegy chuckled.
I brought him here because he heard the rumour and wishes to interview you. You need only mention in your interview that your marriage is a triumph for the commoners.
But I am now a member of the nobility.
But say it like this. Say that even though you recently discovered your noble lineage, in your heart you still feel like one of the common people.
All right.
And say, when you become the queen, you will be a queen who stands up for the commoners.
When I become queen, I will stand with the commoners.
Emphasize sweet romance, devotion, and love with His Majesty Aldrich.
Shouldn't I say that I will stand with the nobles as well?
Not if you want to win their favour. Emphasize unconditional love. That will please them.
Very well. His Majesty and I share an unconditional love.
The interview went on like this, with the scribe barely asking a single question, but Duke Elegy prompting all of Rose's statements. Afterwards, she was thoroughly exhausted. Lying on her bed, she felt peculiar. She feared needing to be coached on every word she would ever utter from here on out. Suddenly, she felt a kick in her belly. She clutched it with both hands.
Oh, what's this? Movement from my child.
She found the kick comforting. Someone who would always be on her side was encouraging her to keep going.
Mommy will try her best, my sweet baby. The hours flew by as I pored over the 5 full albums of dress designs and selected a few for my wedding dress. But there was still so much to do. Just as I stood up to be measured for the dress, there was a knock on the door. Come in. Oh, hello, Your Majesty. Henry stopped in the doorway and stared at me, and I was suddenly aware of how unclothed I was. He grinned from ear to ear as he slowly entered the room, which had fallen silent. He knelt down beside me and leafed through the book of designs casually. All of a sudden, without intending to, my hip bumped against King Henry's head. He froze with the album in his hand, and I was bewildered as well.
Well, maybe you want to keep your wedding dress a secret.
He put the album down. Then he looked anxiously at his pocket watch.
I will leave you to it then.
When he left, however, the atmosphere became more awkward. I sat down on the couch and clutched my head with both hands. My awkwardness was becoming too much to bear.
What did you do to make Lady Bronwyn angry? King Henry looked at his advisor in shame and anxiety.
I don't know. I can't think of anything. But there must have been something. Her Majesty the Queen doesn't seem like one to get angry for no reason.
Actually, now that you mention it, yesterday it seemed like she was about to ask me something, but suddenly changed her mind.
Is it possible that she found out?
I don't know.
For a smart woman like her, is it really so hard to come to the conclusion on her own? If it troubles you so much, why don't you tell her?
Are you always so opinionated about such sensitive matters? What would I even say? She doesn't even want me involved in picking out her dress for our wedding. I have made a grave error, whatever it is.
After King Henry left, I paced back and forth anxiously in my room. Of course, I had bumped into him unintentionally, but he didn't know that. I must apologize. I pressed my cheeks with both hands and took a deep breath. Miss Matilda. Yes, Your Majesty. I'm going to see His Majesty the King. Can you bring me something to wear? Matilda seemed relieved to hear my request, and immediately brought me a yellow cloak. She seemed concerned that we were fighting. I felt a pang of affection for the girl. I was grateful to have made a friend like her. I will let whoever that is know you're busy. Thank you. But just as I was readying to leave, Matilda re-entered the room, with none other than King Henry behind her. It appears that both of your minds are on the same wavelength. Thank you, Lady Matilda. Please see yourself to the parlour. Matilda nodded and quietly left. I looked at King Henry, and my stomach plummeted. It felt like we were both ready for a moment of truth, but I feared what he would have to say to me. We looked at each other for a moment.
I have something to confess.
Yes, Henry. What is it?
I am Majesty.
I stared back at him. I was shocked at how plainly he revealed it. No adorning of the subject, just plain honesty. Was he regretful, ashamed, or proud?
Judging by your expression, it looks like you already knew. Is that true?
I am, honestly, at a loss for words.
I am sorry, Your Majesty. I never meant to deceive you.
He stared at me with what looked like sincerity. It was like his eyes were trying to tell me how sorry he was.
In our tribe, we are not allowed to reveal our identity, except to our family. That's why I couldn't tell you, but I have no intention of deceiving you anymore. I swear it.
I shook my head and readied to tell him it was all right, that I was simply sorry for pushing him earlier. But all of a sudden, his golden hair became soft feathers, and his strong arms became winged. He floated before me, never breaking eye contact. His eyes were big and wide, and, as surprised as I was, my heart fluttered with affection. I'm not angry. My face heated up. I want to touch you. I reached my hand towards him, finding it so much less embarrassing to interact with him in this way. I reached my arm out and stroked his head, and he tilted his body in pleasure. Suddenly, I became self-conscious and jerked my hand away. What am I doing? Please, Henry, transform back into a man, somewhere I can't watch. With that, he turned towards the open window and flew away gracefully. I sat down on my couch and was lost in thought for nearly half an hour before Matilda re-entered my room quietly. Your Majesty, it sounded like you were alone. Where did the king go? And why did he leave his clothes? I looked over by the doorway where we had stood and saw that his clothes were in a pile on the floor, including his undergarments. And suddenly my mind went back to the place it had been avoiding. His body. His body. His body. The room bore an air of tension as Matilda and Cedrica, who had followed Matilda into my room, stared at me, awaiting an explanation. Cedrica peered into my eyes. Did His Majesty depart in a state of undress? Do not worry about it, it matters not. They stared at me with relentless questions dancing across their eyes. Matilda blushed, clearly imagining a crude scene. We are soon to be a married couple. This surely does not mean the king should run naked through the palace halls. Of course you're to be married. The predicament lies with the fact that anyone else witnessing His Majesty in a state of undress is not wed to him. I realised that the more I spoke, the stranger King Henry and I would seem. Rather than continuing, I swiftly bent down and retrieved King Henry's attire. The perfume of his clothes overtook my senses, and I remembered my birthday. Majesty's forlorn expression flashed before my mind. He had earnestly presented me with a cake, which I deemed excessive. The bird wept and left in a hurry. It was King Henry who shed tears that day. King Henry. He possessed a tender heart. I pondered if he was shedding tears right now. At the thought, my heart grew heavy with concern. I felt a sudden surge of remorse. Miss Cedrica, has His Majesty ever misconstrued your intentions? What sort of misunderstanding are you talking about? He often perceives my demeanour as one of displeasure, when in truth it is not. As one of his knights, I thought you might understand his usual behaviour. I've been angry before, but he does not seem to care. I see. I surmise His Majesty misinterpreted the situation, assuming your displeasure. Consequently, he departed through the window in a state of shock, and also naked? Something like that. Well, I rarely see the king without a smile. So this perhaps makes a bit of sense. What do you mean? What if His Majesty were truly distressed by the notion of you being angered, to the extent that he departed unclothed out the window? Perhaps honesty is the best policy? It would certainly soothe his frazzled mind to know that you're not angry. If, that is, you aren't angry. I found myself perplexed by Miss Cedrica's revelation. I had regarded King Henry as profoundly emotional, yet evidently he concealed his sentiments with the people closest to him. Except for me, that is. I shall proceed to visit His Majesty. It is imperative to rectify this misunderstanding with honesty. Queen! Yes, I already agreed to listen to your advice, Cedrica. What more is there to discuss? You should put those clothes in a bag. I can see the king's underwear. Matilda burst out laughing at Cedrica's inappropriate comment. I couldn't help but smile myself. These women were a glimmer of light in this chaotic darkness.
Rose's bedroom was adorned with soft lighting as Aldrich, clad in comfortable attire, sat on Rose's bed, serenading the unborn baby. Rose, surrounded by a pile of plush pillows, couldn't contain her joy as Aldrich's melody filled the room. This was a scenario she would have deemed unimaginable a year ago. Moved by the moment, Rose extended her hand to gently stroke Aldrich's raven-black hair.
You're so tender.
She reflected on the stark contrast between Aldrich's actions and those of Alan, who had rejected her. Meanwhile, Aldrich, with a higher status, spared no effort to avoid having an illegitimate heir.
Your Majesty is quite skilled in the art of song.
Because I learned it from a young age.
Is singing a part of the royal family's education?
It extends beyond the royal family. It's a lesson commonly imparted in high society.
The baby will surely remember its father's voice well.
Smiling, Aldrich continued to caress Rose's belly. The intimate moment was cut short. Who is it? Rose's maid Cheryl entered.
Your Majesty, Baron Lant is here.
Aldrich's demeanour shifted abruptly. At this hour?
Yes, he claims he has something urgent to show you.
Tell him to wait in the living room.
Understood. You're departing so soon.
Baron Lant wouldn't come without a significant reason. Aldrich tucked Rose in, leaving her in the chamber, which now seemed dimly lit and lonely. In the living room, Baron Lant anxiously paced, holding a publication. "What's wrong?" Aldrich, taking the publication, frowned upon reading its contents. He stopped in his tracks. "So, Bronwyn overheard me promising Rose that I would divorce her." "It appears so, Your Majesty."
I woke up with the intention to clear the air with King Henry, so I waited for him to arrive in his office, which was bathed in the soft glow of dawn. I stood up immediately as a man entered the room. It was indeed a man I wanted to speak with, but it was not King Henry. It was my brother. "Oscar!"
"Happy to see me?"
My brother extended his arms in a welcoming gesture and embraced me tightly. I looked up to find his shoulders shaking. He was shedding tears. He held me for a while, releasing me only when Marquis Clifford entered the office. His entry prompted my brother to release me. He wiped his eyes with a handkerchief and smiled. "Brother."
"When I heard about your divorce, Bronwyn, my heart broke."
"I thought I'd get to see you as soon as I got to the Celestial Isles. Have you been avoiding me?"
"Yes. I feared I would cause you trouble."
"How could you think that?"
"Well, that's what happened in Elisaria. I haven't stopped thinking about it since I heard about your divorce. It was probably my fault that it happened."
While there might be truth in his words, I knew even if my brother hadn't acted, Aldrich would still have left me. He loved Rose, and needed to remove me for her to sit by his side. "So, you're avoiding me. But you're in King Henry's office. I see you're buddying up to my husband this time round."
His Majesty said he would add my name to the Knight's Expedition before the wedding.
"Knight's Expedition?"
"It's a Celestial Isles tradition. The Knight's Expedition travels through cities on behalf of the king to provide support to the common people."
Recollections of this tradition surfaced in my mind. The reputation of the knight who handled such situations best would skyrocket. King Henry clearly aimed to elevate my brother's standing in the Celestial Isles. I hugged the clothes in my hands tighter. "He is giving you a great opportunity. Henry has been generous to our family."
"I have only heard frivolous rumors about him. However, he is very thoughtful in many ways."
"I agree."
"You must like him."
"Oh, Oscar."
"You know I'm right."
"How embarrassing."
"Please, we will see more of each other soon. Off to your husband now."
We embraced once more, and Oscar departed. Alone again with my original intention, I bravely turned my head towards the door to his meeting room. Henry stood at his desk. His face became flushed once our eyes met.
"Your Majesty."
He didn't come towards me, as he usually did. Although still embarrassed, this time I gathered the courage to approach him. King Henry clasped his hands together tightly, his eyes trembling.
"Bronwyn, I'm sorry."
I was desperate to dispel any misconceptions. "I'm truly not angry."
"But you have been avoiding me. I wish you wouldn't avoid me. You are all that is on my mind."
I wasn't avoiding you out of anger. I swallowed the urge to turn round and leave. Do you want me to be honest with you about why I've been avoiding you?
"Yes. If you're not angry at me, please be honest."
You might be surprised.
"Please, Your Majesty. I have been so anxious that I can't fall asleep at night. Tell me."
I took a deep breath, hugging his clothes as if they were an amulet. King Henry told me the truth, even though he feared it would make me angry. He proved his bravery, so I had to prove mine. After another deep breath, I confessed to him as casually as possible. "I saw you naked." The confession hung in the air, laden with vulnerability and truth. The image of you keeps popping up in my mind. That's why I can't look you in the eyes. I just keep remembering it. Somehow, once I had revealed this, it became easier to meet his eyes. For the first time in a while, I stared up at him, unafraid.
King Aldrich paced anxiously around his chambers as he considered the bombshell of new information. Bronwyn had caught wind of his plan. But she seemed to think he was willing to abandon her. When I brought up the divorce to Rose, the 1-year period was explicit. Does Bronwyn really think I would choose to replace her permanently? I must rectify this. King Henry's playboy reputation is well known. Such a man will undoubtedly cause Bronwyn pain. I must assure her of my unwavering commitment. Aldrich approached his desk, retrieving parchment to compose a letter. I must let her know. This way, she will come back before she is abandoned by that brute.
Baron Lant, enter!
As Aldrich was sealing the letter with wax, his trusted aide entered cautiously.
Your Majesty, you summoned me?
Aldrich handed the sealed letter to Baron Lant without disclosing the sender or recipient.
Who is this for, Your Majesty?
This is for Bronwyn.
You mean the Queen?
Aldrich smirked at the mention of Queen. Baron Lant refrained from further questions, fearing angering the Mad King. King Henry may obstruct her ability to receive word from Elysaria, so it must reach her discreetly.
Perhaps we need a knight in disguise.
Yes, perhaps. Just then, the silver bird in the corner of Aldrich's office made a loud screech. Quiet! Funny, this bird hasn't made a noise in some time.
Perhaps it is a sign.
Of what?
We need something to deliver the letter discreetly to the Celestial Isles. Do we not suspect that this bird hails from that foreign land?
I see. Yes, this may be perfect. It seems the bird agrees. All right, bird. You have a job to do. At the same time, there was someone else who was just as disturbed by what had been published in the article as King Aldrich. Rose is getting married. The publication's revelations echoed within the walls of Viscount Rothescue's home. According to the gossip, a flurry of activity would ensue at the royal palace in preparation for the wedding. Carriages laden with precious jewelry, exotic carpets, silks, and rare items from Rhett arrived continuously through the palace gates. Even renowned florists found themselves caught up in the whirlwind of activity. While the royal family did not officially acknowledge the news boldly asserted the impending nuptials. How trifling this world is. To think the slave I used to own would become the queen. Alan slammed his door shut, secluding himself in his room, overwhelmed with discouragement. Liliana, on the other hand, was overcome with rage and anxiety.
As soon as she becomes the queen, she'll take revenge on us, Father.
Now, why do you say that?
Because we know her secrets.
I would think that's all the more reason for her to be careful.
Despite his outward confidence, Viscount Rothescue harbored a subtle anxiety. Even with Rose's secret child in his possession, the fear lingered. She clearly did not care for this child. What if his life meant so little to her that she would end it? As he was contemplating the potential repercussions, a knock at the door interrupted his thoughts.
Open it.
It is a knight from the royal palace, Father.
Let him in.
Ever since he commenced blackmailing Rose, Viscount Rothescue had consistently bribed members of the royal palace staff to gather information on Rose. The visiting knight belonged to this circle. "What's wrong? Do you have something important to say?"
Your Excellency, His Majesty secretly sent a letter to the Celestial Isles.
To the Celestial Isles?
Yes, secretly and without any official record.
Very good, my friend. Here is a tip for your trouble. I will accompany you back to the palace. You have given me an idea. Good day, Rose.
Viscount Rothescue, what do you want?
Do you know what news I have for you?
Let me guess. You're trying to blackmail me again.
Not at all. I heard the king sent a letter to Queen Bronwyn.
Queen? You mean the deposed queen?
Sure, if you prefer. He sent a letter to the deposed queen.
What's the letter about?
That I don't know.
Didn't you steal the letter?
An envoy sent by His Majesty can't be snatched easily. But you needed me for this information, didn't you?
Rose's heartbeat quickened as she realized the continued value of Rothescue's information. She fretted over the already substantial sum of money she had given him, and braced herself for whatever his end of the bargain would require. He leaned in with a smirk.
I could have found that out myself.
But you didn't, did you?
Rose, silenced by the truth, couldn't find a rebuttal. Viscount Rothescue continued with a manipulative charm.
We both know each other very well. But what about your fake parents? They only see your good side. Don't you want them to maintain that perception?
Rose, conflicted, couldn't deny the truth. Martha and William, while kind, were unaware of her true origins.
Rose, people like us must stick together to stand securely.
Rose leaned back on the couch, nervously moving her lips. The echoes of Aldrich's lullaby clashed with the reality of the secret letter he sent to Bronwyn.
If there was something in my favour, he would have sent it officially.
My thoughts exactly.
Oh dear.
Perhaps it is an apology. You did read the publication spreading like wildfire through Elisaria, did you not?
I did.
And did I happen to read something about your own upcoming marriage?
Stay out of my marriage.
Of course. I will be careful, my queen. And I will protect you.
All right.
With a frivolous chuckle, he stretched his hand out. Angrily, Rose reached into her jewelry box and deposited some into the Viscount's hand. She did not even know which ones they were. She did not care anymore.
Until next time, then.
But as he was heading for the door, Rose called out.
Wait. There is someone I need to find.
Someone? Who?
A girl, a little younger than me. She's my parents' second daughter, Wren.
Say no more.
Viscount Rothescue gave Rose a subtle nod and left her chamber. But even after he left, Rose's troubled mind did not stop racing. She paced around her room as she looked at the clock. Aldrich wasn't going to come back until later. She nervously stepped out into the corridor, looked around, and headed for the Western Palace. When the deposed queen left Elisaria, the Western Palace remained calm and quiet. All the bustling ladies-in-waiting had returned to their homes, while the number of maids and servants was greatly reduced. They only came once a day to clean the corridors, But Rose knew that it was not yet time for that. This had become her new hobby. She would enter the Queen's room to feel like the Queen herself. Rose leaned against the door and gazed at the glamorous empty room. The furniture was still there, but it wasn't being used by anyone. Strangely, it felt gloomy.
It will get better when I use it.
Even just wandering around the room, Rose felt better already. Rose, who felt like the Queen, smiled as she imitated the body movements she had seen Bronwyn do before. She was sure everyone comparing her to the former Queen would be surprised on the wedding day at how elegant and queenly she appeared. This made Rose's mood much better. Definitely much better. She touched all the furniture as she danced around the room, her fingers falling on a strange chair she had not noticed before.
What's this?
Her gaze was fixated on the chair, seemingly ordinary at first glance, but with a peculiar protrusion at the top. She removed the cushion, revealing a wooden box concealed inside. Inside were a stack of documents.
Are these the documents belonging to the deposed Queen?
Rose sat down to peruse the documents further. They were written in straightforward language, allowing her to comprehend the charitable initiatives orchestrated by Queen Bronwyn on behalf of the royal family. Orphanages, nursing homes, support facilities for single parents, free hospitals, and more. She was taken aback by the extent of Bronwyn's personal involvement in these institutions. But what shocked Rose most of all was a letter at the bottom of the stack addressed to her.
To Miss Rose.
Rose was clutching the letter she had found, absorbing its contents. Bronwyn had detailed meticulous preparations for Rose's future role as Queen, similar to the ones typically given to a successor. The sincerity of Bronwyn's tone resonated with her, but an unexpected turn of events added another layer to Rose's complex feelings. Suddenly, 2 promissory notes slipped from the letter onto the floor. She was taken aback by their enormous sum, realizing they represented the funding required to sustain the charitable institutions for 2 years.
The interview was true. She knew about the divorce. Why else would she have made all these preparations?
Her brow furrowed with a mixture of confusion and discomfort. Her sense of unease intensified. She did not want to acknowledge Bronwyn's admirable qualities, but the weight of the promissory notes added a tangible dimension to the situation. There was a lot Rose could do with this money.
Shouldn't the charities be sponsored under my name?
Anger bubbled within her as she contemplated the history of the deposed Queen standing in her way.
She didn't want my reputation to rise. Sponsoring these organizations would earn trust.
With determination, Rose gathered the promissory notes, the letter, and the documents.
I'll do it all under my name. Why should I let her take all the credit? It had been a few days since my brother had set off on the night's expedition when Cedrica, diligently polishing a spear on her lap, asked me an unexpected question. Are Lord Oscar and your Majesty the Queen twins? No, Lady Cedrica, we're not twins. Cedrica nodded, seemingly satisfied, and returned to her task. Matilda, sensing an opportunity for mischief, grinned and nudged Cedrica in the ribs. Lord Oscar interests you? Yes. My brother speaks highly of his strength. I'd like to test him. By test, you mean fight, right? Yes. Miss Matilda. Yes, Your Majesty. Who is the most popular person in the Celestial Isles High Society? Duke Liberty and Miss Mulaney. 2 people. Originally, the most popular was King Henry. He was followed by Duke Liberty and Miss Mulaney. However, now that you've ascended the throne, things have changed. Duke Liberty and Miss Mulaney are close relatives. He's her uncle. Would it be possible to meet them both? You want to persuade both of them to be your supporters, no? It's a good idea, but it won't be easy. Why? Are they Catherine's subordinates? Dear me, no. Lady Mulaney and Catherine don't get along so well. They even once had a fight. All right. She doesn't have to be my subordinate. A friend would be good enough. I'll arrange an appointment. Thank you. The cheerful atmosphere gave me an opportunity to ask something that had been on my mind for quite a while. Matilda, do you remember the scribe who interviewed me? Yes, that scribe's interview with you, Your Majesty, appeared in a publication and became a major topic of conversation. Is that scribe still at the royal palace? Probably. Could you find him? He has jet black hair. Yes, Your Majesty. About 2 hours later, Matilda entered with the scribe by her side. It was yet another great performance from my trusted lady-in-waiting.
My name is John, Your Majesty. Did you want to see me?
I sensed his nervousness, but also a glint of intelligence in his eyes. I called you because I would like you to write an article in the publication, as if it were another interview.
Oh, I see. What did you want the article to be about?
About how well I'm adjusting to life here in the Celestial Isles.
Is that all? Oh, that shouldn't be difficult. Anything else?
I also want the names of my friends to appear in the article. You can say that, although I am settling in exceedingly well, there are many whom I miss. I made sure to spell Duchess Betha's name clearly. My plan all along was to find her, and I intentionally included her name among those of my ladies-in-waiting. Duchess Betha, being smart and insightful, would realize from the interview article that I was searching for her. She had promised to help me someday, and if true, she would come to see me. If she did, I had no doubt she would soon dominate the high society of the Celestial Isles. In high society, I needed personal connections, a skilled socialite on my side. At that moment, a knock interrupted my thoughts. I quickly opened the door, expecting my 2 ladies-in-waiting. Instead, King Henry stood there, appearing downcast. King Henry? Come in, what's wrong? He took my hand, kissed it, and asked out of the blue,
Majesty, are you lonely?
No. He didn't seem to believe me.
I heard about an article saying Majesty is very lonely.
Did the scribe tell you? Word travels that quickly here.
On my way here, I met the scribe. When I asked him what had happened, he told me Majesty asked him to publish an article in the newspaper about her being lonely.
I shook my head, finding the situation awkward but funny. It's not like that, King Henry.
I don't want you to be lonely, Majesty.
I really am fine.
If you wish, I can spend the night by your side. Would that make you feel better?
I leaned in closer, blushing at his offer to sleep beside me, as we both knew he had done before, in a different form. Next time you come as Majesty, I'll have to have some clothes handy. The room felt like it was heating up, but before he could respond, I noticed my 2 ladies-in-waiting over King Henry's shoulder, carrying dinner. Their shocked expressions were mortifying. I whispered to Henry, "Come with me." I quickly dragged King Henry out of the parlour and into my room, to avoid any more embarrassments. Rushing into the room, I slammed the door harder than I meant to, and whipped around in surprise. I found myself pressed up against Henry, and quickly jumped back. Sorry, I didn't mean to find myself in such a position.
My heart was pounding just now, Your Highness.
Are you really jesting in a situation like this?
I'm jesting because we're in a situation like this.
I reached out and took his hand. Well, in any case, I assure you I'm fine, Henry. It's inevitable to miss my old friends, but I don't feel lonely here.
Really?
There's Matilda, there's Cedrica, there's my brother, and there's you, of course, here too.
That's right.
Looking at him smiling gave me a tingling sensation that made it difficult to sit still. Unable to stay in one place, I got up and paced the room, quickly scrambling for another topic. I've seen the palace where the wedding is being prepared. The grand banquet hall is very extravagant.
It is extravagant indeed. What did you think?
It's looking lovely, but I'm worried that the wedding will be too glamorous.
Well, that's fitting for the occasion. The Celestial Isles is the capital of jewels. Our wedding must be absolutely dazzling. Absolutely. Well, I have no choice but to tell you something now. I wanted to do it in quite a surprising and unexpected way.
What do you mean?
I have a confession to make.
A confession? What are you saying?
You haven't already guessed?
He reached forward and touched my hands.
On our wedding day, you will become the first Empress of the Western Empire.
Empress? It wasn't the confession I had expected. He beamed at me proudly, but I stood stunned.
You'll be busier, but it will be worth it. What's wrong, Your Majesty? Aren't you happy with this news?
In his words, I sensed not the dulcet strains of love's serenade, but the resounding notes of ambition. The title Empress bore not only regality, but an assertion of might. A revelation unfolded. I stood as a monarch in the making, entrusted with a realm to govern. As the curtain lifted, I found myself torn between the fleeting verses of love that had partially guided my path and the heavy mantle of rulership. The realization, a quiet storm within, murmured of destinies entwined with the threads of power and duty, leaving me at the crossroads of heart and empire. When I woke up, my heart was brimming with joy. I clutched the sheets as I lay in bed leisurely. Our wedding day would be the perfect moment for the Celestial Isles to become an empire. I may no longer be a queen, but I will be a great empress. It was well known throughout the world that the Celestial Isles had the power and wealth to become an empire. My heart beat fast. Undoubtedly, this event would be engraved in history. It was overwhelming to know that I would be part of that history. It was also amazing and admirable to see King Henry, who had only recently ascended the throne, move forward in this way. I realized the gravity of my role. As both the first remarried empress and the first empress of the Celestial Isles, I had to be more careful with my actions and focus more seriously on my role. Eager to begin, I rose from the bed and got dressed with the help of Matilda. Moments later, there was a knock on my door. Who is it?
I'm Peter, Your Majesty. I come from the Blue publication.
The Blue publication.
May I come in?
You are a scribe?
Yes, Your Majesty the Queen. My publication has access to the royal palace. I understand you have spoken to other scribes, and I'd like the opportunity to speak with you as well.
It suddenly clicked that there must be a frenzy of competition at the palace over which scribes got to interview the new queen. I felt a knot in my stomach as I realized that this might mean uncomfortable questions were going to come my way. After a while, I realized that this is the kind of situation I needed to overcome. I lifted my chin. Yes, you may enter. Peter was burly and appeared more like a knight than a scribe. He entered with a determined look, and his intimidating stature, along with the glint in his eye, made me feel as though he was well prepared to leave with what he wanted. Yet I smiled as though I had not noticed, and braced myself for a verbal spar. Where would you like to begin?
Your Majesty's reputation is widely known. Much has been said about your ability, so Your Majesty must be a good queen for the Celestial Isles.
I simply looked back at him, waiting for his agenda to appear.
But I'm also a little worried.
Go on.
The reputation that your majesty earned as queen was, essentially, because of your great love for Elisaria. It wouldn't be a problem as long as Elisaria and the Celestial Isles did not come into conflict, but if the two countries were to one day compete for an advantage, what would your majesty do in this awkward position?
As prepared to spar as I was, I found myself speechless and unable to respond. Peter had found the one question I was not sure how to answer.
Aldrich, restless, couldn't stop wondering if the letter he had sent to Bronwyn had reached her hands without any inconvenience. Did the bird carrying the letter suddenly lose his way? Could he have encountered a very strong wind? What if he was shot out of the sky? He was confident that when the letter reached Bronwyn's hands, everything would go back to the way it was before. But that depended on her receiving the letter. I worried too much. I must be going mad. Although Aldrich was restless, he was still king and had duties to perform. He sat in the throne room, blessing loving young couples who were getting married. The irony was not lost on him, and his aura was heavy, even with his kind smiles and insincere blessings. Fortunately, the last couple he would see in the throne room today was not about to get married. They were already wed and seeking the king's blessings on a girl they wanted to adopt.
Your Majesty the King, please bless this girl who will be our daughter from today on. We beg you.
This one Aldrich was able to do with sincerity, especially because it reminded him of the orphan that Bronwyn had sponsored during her time in Elisaria. When the audience had cleared the throne room, Aldrich beckoned Baron Lant. Bring Bronwyn's aides to my office.
Do you mean Rose's aides?
I meant what I said. Back in his office, Aldrich impatiently waited for Baron Lant to fulfill his orders. When he heard a soft knock and a creaking at the door, he looked up eagerly in anticipation. In walked Baron Lant with 2 aides, one of whom was Sir Artemis. You are Bronwyn's aides?
Yes, Your Majesty.
There was an orphan that Bronwyn took care of on her own. Who was responsible for that? One of them stepped forward, the one who was not shaking with fear. This was the noble Sir Artemis. It was my duty, Your Majesty. That girl. I heard her magic disappeared. That's right, Your Majesty. How is she now, and who is supporting her? She is still at the Magical Academy. And, as far as I know, she's receiving patronage from Duke Troby. You're no longer responsible for that. I am working in another department now. It is no longer necessary for Duke Troby to fund her. What do you mean, Your Majesty? That girl. Do you know what she looks like? Yes, I used to periodically meet with her on the Queen's behalf to see how she was doing. I want to see her, so bring her here. Sir Artemis was quite perplexed, and felt as though something was not right. He was torn between serving his kingdom, which no longer included Bronwyn, and staying loyal to what he knew was just. He did not know why, but he felt as though the two might be at odds. But perhaps, if he brought Skylar back to Elisaria, she would find use outside of her lost magic. Perhaps Aldrich would even allow her to stay in the capital, if the girl agreed. Then, when Bronwyn returned one day, she would be relieved and happy. And that would mean he could be relieved and happy as well. The question was Aldrich doing this out of the kindness of his heart? Was that even possible anymore? Sir Artemis had been around long enough to know how to question a volatile ruler delicately. Your Majesty, may I ask why you are inquiring about her? I want to ensure she has the support she needs. I can't have someone Bronwyn cared for left to uncertainty. Without consulting with Sir Artemis, the other aide spoke up.
I see, Your Majesty. We will arrange for her to meet you.
They bowed and left the office, leaving Aldrich staring out the window, his mind consumed by thoughts of Bronwyn and the girl she had cared for. Rose was bewildered when she heard rumors that Aldrich had ordered a young woman to be brought to the palace. She knew all too well what happened the last time he brought a young woman home. She was uneasy about it. And unfortunately, there was no one better to ask for information than her own enemy.
Did he really command for a young woman to be brought to the palace, Viscount Rothescue?
Indeed. She is a woman from the Magical Academy, in fact.
Rose felt hurt that Aldrich had ordered to bring in a girl who was talented in magic. Having gotten rid of the great noble Bronwyn, her head was spinning at the thought of a sorcerer coming this time. She thought Aldrich would never cheat on her. Was it a misconception? Others might think Aldrich was having an affair with Rose. But Rose didn't think Aldrich's love towards her was a simple affair. She frowned as she rubbed her hands together.
He's bringing a girl in before the wedding. What if Aldrich changes his mind and makes the other girl the queen? Even if she isn't an adult right now, she would become one soon.
It is not yet known what he ordered to bring her here for. Let's wait and see.
Rose rubbed her belly anxiously.
Haven't I already told you, girl? It is necessary to always be prepared.
Stop trying to provoke me and think about how to protect yourself. Is that not what I pay you for?
Rothescue replied only with a mischievous grin and a sinister smile.
Get out.
Rose wanted to immediately run to Aldrich and ask him about the girl, but she feared being seen as jealous or annoying. When she heard a door creaking open, she saw Cheryl entering from the parlour.
Miss Rose. What? His Majesty the King is not that kind of man. Don't worry too much. Are you spying on me? Of course not, I just heard you crying. I don't know how much you think you know His Majesty. Do you think you know His Majesty more than Rose, his wife?
Cheryl realized that there was nothing she could do to make Rose trust her right now, so she turned away and went about her duties. Cheryl left Rose's room with the dirty dishes. On the way, she encountered Kaya, Rose's other maid. Unlike Cheryl, who was working as a maid for the first time, Kaya was very experienced. She was always willing to help Cheryl, who had many shortcomings and made mistakes frequently.
Kaya? Yes, love? It seems that Miss Rose is angry with me. Oh dear, really? Yes. And I was going to take the afternoon off, as we discussed, but I'm nervous she'll be even angrier if I leave in the middle of this situation.
Kaya smiled slightly at Cheryl's worried expression.
When the wedding preparations are in full swing, we'll be much busier. We'll be busy with the wedding preparations, busy during the wedding, and even busier after the wedding. It's going to be hard to work for a few months, so go and enjoy your short break.
Although Kaya's words were a huge relief for Cheryl, she still felt worried when she returned home that evening. Her older brother, Julian, was waiting for her, ready to push her buttons.
How come everyone in the royal palace has glowing faces except my little sister?
Cheryl's eyes remained downcast instead of cheerful at his jab. Julian realized something was wrong.
I fear she's angry with us, Julian.
Why?
I said something to cheer her up, but her mood got worse because of it. It was about the king.
I'm sure she fears losing his favour, as the Queen did recently. Do not pay it much mind. She needs you on her side. It will pass.
She's treating me cruelly, with accusing eyes like I'm after her seat. Why do you brush aside my concern? Are you in love with her just like the rest of the kingdom? Is that why you spoke of her so favourably in the article you wrote about her? I need you to be my brother at home, not a scribe.
It is my job to let the people know that the future queen will be on the side of the commoners.
Wow. So that's how it's going to be? You are in love with her?
Oh, she is an amazing person. We must support her inside and outside the home, for our family. And Cheryl knew she did not have him on her side in this moment.
The question that scribe asked me kept playing in my mind. What would your majesty do if Elisaria and the Celestial Isles ever competed for advantage? I had finally come up with an answer. I remembered myself saying, that would be very unlikely. But if it ever happened, it wouldn't be something I would have a choice in. It may have seemed like an elusive answer, but it was the truth. A queen, or empress, is primarily in charge of internal affairs. I didn't think it would be as much of a question of which side to be on, as the journalist tried to make it seem. I pondered in a daze for a while, until some good news came. Matilda let me know that Julia and Laura had arrived. My heart skipped a beat. There is a third woman with them as well. A third? Has Eliza joined them? And here they are now. I was overjoyed to reunite with my ladies when Julia and Laura entered the room. I immediately introduced them to Matilda and Cedrica. I felt like I finally had a family here now, that I saw these 4 women all together. But who was the third woman they mentioned? I heard footsteps approaching, and was truly stunned when she appeared. I believe you wanted me here as well, Duchess Betha. Duchess Betha's eyes teared up as I stretched out to embrace her. She returned my hug warmly. Duchess Betha, it's been too long. Your Majesty, I'm so happy to see you. I am no longer Duchess Betha, just Nadine. Of course, Nadine. But what about Viscount Langdale? Did you two marry? We're lovers, that's true. But marriage, only when it becomes necessary. For now, I am enjoying my freedom. You seem so different from the lady who was so wronged by Duke Betha. Your light shines brightly again. That part of my life is behind me, thankfully. Now I wander, free as the wind. We have both been on hard journeys. Hard, yes, but liberating. You know, hearing about your marriage to King Henry was the biggest shock during my travels. Nadine, there's a reason I summoned you here. With King Henry's brother gone, and Catherine still so young, the court is quite complex. I would be so grateful for your insight. And you would like me to help you navigate it? Exactly. I need your charm, your wit. Help me conquer the high society here. Consider it done. I owe you much, and I haven't forgotten. Thank you, Nadine. Your support means everything to me. And know this. Viscount Langdale is also in your corner. You have our full support.
Unlike Bronwyn, who was feeling confident in her position for the first time, Henry was deeply troubled. As Bronwyn was busy catching up with Lady Laura and Countess Julia at lunchtime, then occupied with Nadine, Henry had not been able to see her that day yet. Even though he understood her desire to be with the reunited friends of her past, he still longed for his time with her. I can't believe Bronwyn's been so occupied today. Not a moment to spare for her own husband.
Your Majesty, you're married for life. Why fret over a single day apart?
But we're newlyweds, Marquis Clifford. Every moment is precious. There is so much time wasted.
Perhaps we should have ventured out and cleared our minds a bit, Your Majesty.
There was a knock on the door. You may enter. An aide rushed in, visibly distressed.
Your Majesty, there's a situation. Unidentified knights have been spotted near the capital, just lingering.
Unidentified knights? In the Celestial Isles?
Yes, sire, and I fear it's not just a few stray soldiers.
Then send someone to identify them. If they pose a threat, have them removed. The aide hesitated.
That might not be possible, Your Majesty. They appear to be supranational knights.
Henry and Marquis Clifford exchanged a look of deep concern.
Your Majesty, this could be grave. Do you think they know of what we've done to accelerate the decline in mages?
Quiet!
But, Your Majesty, if the Shadow Knights are here, it could mean they suspect our involvement.
In the Wall continent, an alliance was formed to which most of the neighboring kingdoms belonged. It was an alliance that Elisario was a part of, and also the Celestial Isles. The supranational knights were managed by the Wall Alliance. They were more widely known as the Shadow Knights. And officially, they worked to preserve peace. However, they were notorious for the aggressive actions they took to nip any perceived threat to peace in the bud. While the phenomenon of the decline of mages arose naturally, it was indeed Henry who had accelerated it. We need to act carefully. The supranational knights don't take kindly to threats to peace, and our actions, however well-intentioned, will be seen as such. Marquis Clifford.
Yes, Your Majesty.
I need you to personally investigate what's happening with those knights. We must learn their intentions without revealing anything. For now, we observe and wait. But be prepared, Marquis Clifford. If they've come for us, we must be ready to defend the realm. Report back directly to me. This could be a very real problem.
Understood, Your Majesty.
Marquis Clifford exited briskly. Henry sat anxiously at his desk, waiting for Marquis Clifford to return. His kingdom was powerful enough to become an empire. But that didn't mean it was capable of waging war against the entire world. The same was true for the Eastern Empire. As long as their alliance did not shatter, the countries would continue to regard each other with respect. A few hours later, Marquis Clifford returned. Well, are they supranational knights?
It's complicated, Your Majesty.
Complicated how? Speak plainly.
They are indeed supranational knights. But, Your Majesty, they don't appear to be here for us.
Not for us? Then why are they here? Is there a threat within the capital?
Your Majesty, the leader of these knights is Viscount Langdell.
Viscount Langdell? Where do I know this name? Is this the same man from the winter solstice celebration in Elisaria?
Exactly, Your Majesty. The man who seemed utterly devoted to Duchess Betha.
The one who stabbed Rose?
Yes.
Langdell, a shadow knight. The man was lovesick if ever there was one. How does such a man end up leading the supranational knights?
It's a strange turn of events indeed. But there's no mistaking it, Your Majesty.
The next day, when Henry met with his officials, Viscount Langdell officially requested an audience on behalf of the supranational knights. King Henry was informed that Langdell was waiting outside the capital, so he sent orders to let Viscount Langdell in. Henry was curious to hear what had brought him here, and he wasn't the only one. The room buzzed with whispers as Viscount Langdell entered, his expression serene. Viscount Langdell is here to see the king. A supranational knight, and so young? Viscount Langdell, we meet again. It's been some time since Elisaria.
Your Majesty, I am Langdell, commander of the 5th Division of the Shadow Knights.
I've heard about your knights stationed outside our capital. Their presence is causing unrest among my people. Why are they here? You must understand, depending on your answer, I may have to ask you to leave. The officials looked at Henry, taken aback by his directness.
Your Majesty, Queen Bronwyn once saved my life. I am here to repay that debt.
The room falls into a stunned silence. My wife saved your life? This is news to me.
Indeed, Your Majesty. I request permission for myself and my knights to serve as the Queen's personal guard until her official protection is established.
The room erupted in whispers. Is this something the king arranged? King Henry smiled calmly, despite being as surprised as everyone else. If you wish to serve the Queen, you should ask her directly. It's her decision. The room fell silent, every eye on Henry, waiting for his next move. A messenger informed Catherine about Viscount Langdale and his knights arriving at the Celestial Isles.
That's good to hear. About the supranational knights serving Bronwyn, that is.
The ladies-in-waiting looked on in shock as Catherine ordered them.
Prepare a flower basket for Bronwyn from these blooms. A gift for her? Why? Queen Catherine, you can't be serious. She's not your friend. Don't you remember what her people did to us? It's not about liking her. As the former queen, I must show civility to the current one. And now, with a supranational knight on her side, what choice do we have?
One lady-in-waiting began to arrange the flowers reluctantly.
But Your Majesty, it's futile. Bronwyn will only see you as an enemy. Your time here is numbered. Exactly. She's already reaching out to Miss Milani. Miss Milani, the 12th candidate. Bronwyn's trying to win her over. Clearly she's against you. She's building her support.
Catherine sighed. She knew she had made Bronwyn a rival.
She's making moves already. If she's contacted Miss Milani, she's aiming to undermine you. You must act, Your Majesty. You're losing influence because of her. If only King Henry had chosen someone from the Celestial Isles, you would not be in this situation, Your Majesty. Henry's whims could also change everything. If he grows bored like King Aldrich has, you'll be even more marginalized. Your Majesty, you must do something, immediately. You must not let her overshadow you. What can I do? You can sit here and complain all day, but I've not heard anyone offer me a solution. Find me one. A public feud would be humiliating. The king wouldn't approve of private hostility. You all forget. I have no power anymore. Nadine and I were engaged in conversation with my ladies-in-waiting when Nora announced Viscount Langdale's unexpected arrival. Viscount Langdale is here, Queen Bronwyn. What a surprise. We meet again, Viscount Langdale. Viscount Langdale got on one knee and bowed.
Your Majesty, I have come to repay your kindness.
Thank you. I'm very happy that you and Lady Nadine are here. It means so much for me to know my friends are near.
I appreciate that, Your Majesty. But I've led my knights here for a reason. Please allow us to be your personal knights during your transition to the throne.
I was surprised at his offer. Viscount Langdale was a noble without territory. While he had a mansion in the capital, no noble without territory could raise a private army with just a mansion. I wondered how he was able to lead knights despite lacking territory, and declined to answer until I found out more. Later, my ladies and I learned from Countess Julia that Viscount Langdale's knights were supranational knights. Supranational knights? I've always wanted to compete against them. How exciting. Cedrica, please. That would be quite embarrassing for the Queen. I don't think it would be embarrassing. I can secretly request an unofficial duel. I laughed, considering how to keep my unusual lady-in-waiting from challenging the knights. Lady Nadine, Will you also become one of Her Majesty's ladies-in-waiting, like Countess Julia and Laura? Laura and Countess Julia, knowing Nadine well, burst into laughter at the suggestion. Nadine couldn't work as a lady-in-waiting. Sadly, this is true. Yet I feel so alive in high society. It's as if I was meant for socializing. Becoming my lady-in-waiting would only limit Nadine's gifts for social interactions, Lady Cedrica. Suddenly, a new visitor appeared. After hearing tapping at the window, Laura rushed to open it. The silver bird flew in with a letter tied to his leg. Is it this one of Henry's birds? This poor bird has been trapped with Aldrich. I know his letter must be from him. Laura and Julia's faces froze at my mention of Aldrich. I reached for the letter, recognizing the handwriting instantly. After reading Aldrich's handwriting, I folded the letter silently. I closed my eyes, hand on my forehead, pondering a reply. I reflected on the letter's contents. Aldrich's proposal to elevate me back to Queen a year after Rose gave birth was unexpected. I felt a mix of emotions, most of all, confusion. I felt resolute that my relationship with Aldrich was over, yet hurt and discomforted at the thought of him. I rejected the idea of leaving Henry for Aldrich, and could not consider any future with Rose's child, nor would I be a stepmother with potential resentment from the child. There was no need for me to reply to Aldrich's letter. He made his bed, and he would have to lay in it. I gazed out the window, lost in thought. Watching the butterflies, I reminisced about Alisaria. At that moment, Henry appeared at the window unexpectedly. Are you trying to get in through the window again?
No. I just came here to talk, Your Majesty.
Tell the truth. You were going to come through the window, weren't you?
If you would let me, gladly. But I really only came to talk.
You are no longer a prince, Henry. You must pay attention to your behavior. This is not proper.
Are you worried I'll make a fool of myself?
I am worried when you do.
Are you scolding me? You know I like it when you scold me.
Then I will stop. What brings you here at this hour? Henry put on a grim expression, turning to scan the lawn.
Nothing is private around here. Speaking of which, I hear you received a letter.
I see. I had planned on telling you, but I was afraid it would affect you. Aldrich sent me a letter.
It was from Aldrich?
Yes, but I did not plan on sending a reply.
Ah. I must say I am relieved.
I am your wife now. You don't have to worry about unnecessary things, Henry.
Bronwyn, just seeing you makes my heart beat quicker. Will these butterflies ever go away?
I hope not. You bring me the same warmth.
Grand Duke Bjorn, reflecting on his futile search for a remedy to the love potion's effects, decided to consult his professor, Dean Edgar, at the Magical Academy. Dean Edgar reacted in dismay to learning his students sold a love potion on the black market.
You fool! What were you thinking? This is intolerable!
I'm sorry, Professor.
I can't believe you got involved in the black market. I think I need to lie down. Many other students may behave recklessly, but you, Grand Duke Bjorn, should have known better.
Bjorn remained silent. The dean examined him.
How long has it been since the potion was consumed?
I drank it shortly after the winter solstice celebrations were over.
So, it hasn't been that long.
The dean pressed Bjorn's body.
How long does it normally take for the effects of the potion to wear off?
Bjorn clutched a locket with Bronwyn's picture.
If one drinks the antidote, one should be better in an instant.
And even if one does not drink the antidote, one should be better within a week. It doesn't produce true love. At first, I thought it was true love because the effects were exceptionally strong.
The Dean glanced at the locket, but didn't recognize the woman inside as the former queen.
Have you tried the antidote made with a mixture of poppies and black lilies? Many times. What about the one with marigold and holly? Yes, I have also tried that. And mixing red carnations with banyan berries? Yes.
The Dean, frustrated, continued to question him about various remedies. Bjorn squeezed the locket tightly.
Cannot anything be done about it, Professor?
The Dean observed Bjorn's distress and reflected on his unrequited love. The Duke's pain of being away from Bronwyn was evident.
Dean, I wander alone at night. I even collect portraits of Bronwyn. Please, there must be a cure. I don't know how to solve it, but I can think of 3 possible causes. 3? They are only deductions. It is easier to find a solution when one knows the cause. And? What are they? First, because the potion was made by you, it's especially effective on you, Grand Duke. That's why it's working so well. What about the second one? Magical ability is disappearing, and fewer people are manifesting as mages. The unstable magic balance could have influenced the strength of the potion. I see. What about the third reason? Before you drank the potion, couldn't you have already been in love with the person you fell in love with afterwards? That's the most likely theory.
Bjorn was shocked by the suggestion.
Although it may be something more complex.
One of Dean Edgar's assistants knocked on the door.
Dean Edgar! A man from the Celestial Isles has come to see Grand Duke Bjorn.
Aldrich was attempting to read reports in his office, but would frequently stop to pace. The time that had elapsed after sending his letter to Bronwyn had been too long. Baron Lant entered the king's office.
You called, Your Majesty.
Has she replied?
Bronwyn has sent no reply, Your Majesty, though I'm told she has received the letter.
She must have asked someone to communicate to me, surely.
I am sorry, Your Majesty. It seems as though she has decided not to.
Aldrich's face turned cold, and his eyelids trembled in disbelief. How is it possible that there was no reply?
Your Majesty, there is one other thing.
What?
Do you remember Viscount Langdell?
The man who stabbed Rose? Do you think I would forget? Why do you mention him?
Viscount Langdell and Duchess Betha are in the Celestial Isles.
What? With Bronwyn? Why are they there?
He is the commander of the 5th Division of the Supranational Knights.
What?
Yes, Your Majesty.
Leave me. At once.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Aldrich was left alone, unable to calm down, contemplating the implications of the Supranational Knights and the Wall Alliance. This cannot happen. The Supranational Knights are incredibly tenacious. And how could Bronwyn not respond? Does she have no feelings about this misunderstanding? Is she trying to punish me? Does she feel the letter was a lie? Yes, that must be it. She thinks I am trying to persuade her falsely, because she is still hurt.
Aldrich paced restlessly as he tried to make sense of it all. Duke Betha entered Aldrich's office.
Your Majesty, are you aware that Duchess Betha is in the Celestial Isles with Viscount Langdale? This cannot be!
Why come to me with this? This is your doing! It was you who did not believe your wife and then got divorced!
But, Your Majesty, it was Rose who told me that my wife was having an affair with another man. How else was I to respond?
Aldrich was startled by the Duke's mention of Rose.
You will watch your tongue. I have told you this was a lie. And why blame someone else for your absurd misunderstanding? That day, you enjoyed conversing with Rose.
At first, she asked me if it was all right for two people to be with each other in the royal palace. I was laughing because she was so naive.
So Rose didn't mention your wife?
No, not directly, but she described the woman, and it was most certainly my wife.
Aldrich marched over to Duke Betha, grabbed him by his collar, and seethed.
You will watch your tongue, or so help me, I will take it from you.
Aldrich let him go. The Duke stood frozen.
It was you who misunderstood.
Yes, Your Majesty. It was me.
After Duke Betha left, quite shaken, Aldrich reflected on the situation. He leaned on his desk, hand to forehead, distressed over Bronwyn and Duke Betha's words. Rose is naive, and yet she has a calculated side. To survive at court, that is, unfortunately, a necessity. And she has adapted well.
Why? Why was I so reluctant to see this?
As he pondered this, Baron Lant entered with urgency.
Your Majesty, Grand Duke Bjorn is on his way to the Celestial Isles.
Aldrich had now lost any patience he had.
What did you say?
Nothing, Your Majesty.
Baron Lant was terrified by the look in Aldrich's eyes, and scurried out of the room. Aldrich, completely enraged, locked himself in his room, and cancelled all engagements. He paced while he organized his thoughts. After 2 hours, he finally exited his room. He appeared calm, but was filled with rage and determination. He spoke directly to Baron Lant. When is Bronwyn's wedding?
They will certainly rush the wedding, so it will more or less coincide with Your Majesty's.
My wedding must take place before Bronwyn's, so the date will have to be moved up, as soon as possible.
As you command.
And send an official invitation to the King of the Celestial Isles. I want them to attend the wedding.
But do you think they will attend?
Aldrich had a cold smile. They will come, because the Duke and Duchess Troby will also attend. Rose was trying on her new wedding dress with the help of the designer at her side. She smiled brightly at Aldrich as he entered the room.
Your Majesty, are you sure you want to see me in my wedding dress before the wedding? It's bad luck, you know, but if you insist, how do I look?
Rose stepped down from the small box she was standing on and turned around gracefully. The designer looked on with pride at her handiwork.
Rose indeed looked beautiful in the glamorous dress she had insisted on. However, Aldrich's face dropped upon seeing the dress. The room went silent. The king's disappointment was easy to read.
It's far too glamorous.
That is the point. Isn't it beautiful, Your Majesty?
It is beautiful, but it is far too loud. Designer, I would like it to be more plain. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Majesty. I'll bring you more options.
Rose looked surprised, then burst into tears.
I want to wear this dress. Don't you want me to be beautiful by your side? Why must I be plain?
You can wear a glamorous dress another time, Rose, but not for this occasion. I want you in a normal, plain dress. There will be other parties to attend where you can dress however you like.
It is our wedding day. Why must you insist I be plain? I'm carrying your child. Do you wish for him to be plain too?
You are not just my bride, Rose. You will be royalty. But if you insist, then so be it. Aldrich had grown more aware of her power over him, and how she manipulated it, and it was beginning to irk him.
Your Majesty is always reading books. I don't know how you can find them so fascinating. I've always been like this, Lady Cedrica, even in Elsaria. Just ask Lady Laura. Oh yes, always books, books, and more books. I feel like a librarian much of the time. Ugh, how boring. I prefer a good joust myself. At the door, Viscount Langdale's knights stood guard. Countess Julia entered with coffee. Your Majesty, one of Catherine's ladies-in-waiting is here. One of Catherine's? Yes, she brought a flower basket with her. A flower basket? Well, you can let her in. Upon entering, the lady-in-waiting curtsied and introduced herself in a soft voice. My name is Emma, Your Majesty. Emma presented me with the flower basket. Lady Catherine heard about Your Majesty's personal knights and wanted to congratulate you. These flowers were grown by Catherine herself. Please pass on my thanks, Lady Emma. I hope to see you again soon. Likewise, Your Majesty. Emma bowed and walked away. She did a good job presenting warmth, although I know she did not want to perform the action. Catherine must be uneasy about Viscount Langdale's knights. She's ignored Your Majesty all this time, but now sends a gift. We should throw it away. Oh, stop, Laura. I'll put the basket on your table, Your Majesty. That would be lovely, Countess Julia. Send a bouquet of acacia flowers to Catherine in return. It's a gift she sent to keep up appearances. Do you have to send one in return? I don't think she was really happy to send this gift. I agree. I don't like this idea. Why don't we send them back when they're dead? It doesn't matter whether she sent it sincerely or not. A fool's friendship is much better than being in conflict. Yes, Your Majesty, but we know all too well that false friendships will come to conflict at some point. I was pleased to observe the harmony among my ladies-in-waiting, as I was getting accustomed to the knights guarding the door. Lady Nadine and Viscount Langdale visited every few days. My interactions with them were quite amusing to me. Viscount Langdale's reactions to Nadine were humorous and charming. It was a nice distraction from the letter from Aldrich, which sat in my desk drawer. Aldrich had changed so much over the years. As much as I tried to suppress it, the sadness was overwhelming. How I wished I could see Aldrich's younger self. Just for a moment. Suddenly, a knock came at the window. I knew it could be only one person, and Henry. I walked over to the window and closed the curtains.
Your Majesty.
I deliberately waited 30 seconds before opening the curtains. He needed to learn, and I was growing tired of this. Henry was so dejected.
I'm sorry, Bronwyn. It's just that I'm so used to seeing you this way. I'll just allow Majesty to come in through the window from now on. So, may I come in as Majesty?
I will not allow you to come in through my window, but for Majesty, I'll make an exception. Again, you've won me over. What brings you here at this hour?
Well, I have good news and bad news.
Well, what is it?
The good news is our wedding date has finally been set.
I was not expecting this. While I normally would be excited, the letter from Aldrich, along with the memories of happier times in Elisaria, had me feeling nostalgic. My heart began to beat, and I started to feel hot.
Before long, we will undeniably be a married couple.
We are already undeniably a couple, Henry.
We swore an oath to each other before God. Now we will proclaim before the whole world that I am your husband and you are my wife.
I watched Henry speak and admired how handsome he was. He was still so passionate. His eyes gave me the reassurance I so desperately needed. What's the bad news?
Well...
Henry's hesitation made me realize the news would be worse than whatever I was expecting. My heart began beating faster in anticipation.
The King of Elisaria sent an invitation for us to attend his wedding.
As much as I would like to say I'm surprised, I am not. I was dreading this.
He hopes that we both can attend. In case I can't, he at least wishes for you to be there. Will you go?
Yes, I will go. I must.
Somehow I knew that you would say that.
I want to see my parents and my friends. He knows this. I don't want to miss the opportunity to see the people I love just because he's there.
Then let me go with you.
You don't have to, Henry. You are now the king.
I want to go with you. My parents and my friends are there too.
It was at that moment that I realized he meant my parents.
They seemed uncomfortable around me when we met. This time, I'll make sure to make a better impression. They will gladly accept me as their son-in-law.
I'm sure they like you now. They will like you because I like you. Henry chuckled and kissed me lightly on the cheek. I had dreamt about this so much, craved it, needed it. Yet at this moment, with the news of Aldrich and the invitation, I wanted to scream. My eyes grew wide in discomfort. Henry moved closer again and kissed me on my lips, lightly, before slowly pulling back, feeling my discomfort.
Bronwyn, when will you accept me as your beloved husband? Do I repulse you?
Henry, you just told me we are being invited to Aldrich's wedding. How do you expect me to act?
Aldrich. He continues to haunt us. You can answer me another time, Your Majesty.
Henry turned and left. I leaned against the window frame, feeling better now that Henry was gone. As I was contemplating my feelings, I was interrupted by a knock at the door. I opened the door to find Matilda and Countess Julia carrying baskets of fruit. What are you doing? We went to an orchard in the royal palace, Your Majesty. We will peel them for you. Julia and Matilda sat on the couch to peel the fruit. I returned to the window, thinking about Henry's news regarding Aldrich's wedding. His Majesty the King was here until recently. His Majesty? King Henry. He wanted to tell me some exciting news. Matilda and Julia paused to listen. Our wedding date has been set. Their faces lit up at the news. At last. You must let designer Macmillan know as soon as possible, Your Majesty. We must begin the preparations immediately. There is one more thing. Henry and I have been formally invited to the wedding of His Majesty the King of Elisaria. Matilda and Julia looked as if they had just drank salt water. I have decided to go. Their expressions soured even more at the news. The two ladies exchanged silent glances. We know better than to protest this decision, Your Majesty. We are here for you. We were interrupted by another knock at the door. Countess Julia went to open it, as I watched from the couch. The visitor, a well-dressed man with a big, grey beard, entered. The man bowed, then introduced himself.
I am the head butler of the Ames family, Your Majesty.
I recalled the name Ames from the records. They held the title of Marquis. I was puzzled and wondered about the reason for the butler's visit.
Your Majesty, I have come on behalf of Lady Mullany.
I recognized Lady Mullany's name immediately. There was clearly a strategic alliance here.
Lady Mullany would be honoured and willing to meet with you at your earliest convenience, Your Majesty.
Thank you. Please tell her to come visit me tomorrow, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, Your Majesty.
The very next day, a half-hour earlier than expected, Lady Mullany arrived. Good day, Your Majesty. I observed Lady Mullany's polite greeting, her dignified expression and graceful manner. There was a spectacular presence to her. I am honoured that you wanted to meet with me, Your Majesty. I have wanted to meet you ever since I heard about you. I, too, have been looking forward to this moment ever since I heard that Your Majesty the Queen had arrived. I was hoping you would call on me. I was impressed by her confidence. She was clearly a natural leader. She reminded me so much of Nadine. I see. If you were waiting for me to call on you, it must be that you want something from me. Is that right? Only to help you, Your Majesty. You called me to help you integrate into the high society of the Celestial Isles, am I right? I nodded pleasantly. And what would I gain by helping Your Majesty the Queen? Laura raised her head at Mullany's boldness. That depends. What do you want in return? I want something that undoubtedly both of us want greatly. You're a smart woman, a perceptive woman. What we both want requires no explanation. I was puzzled. Could she possibly be talking about Henry? Your Majesty, you must drive Catherine out of the royal palace.